Well, hello, friends. I hope it's a good day for you. Today, I have with me my soap and my washcloth and my towel. And of course, in my life, all things are black and gold. Yes, they are. Well, I want to talk to you about staying clean. And I know that you have been using soap and a washcloth every day to wash your face and your hands. And I'm glad that you find that important, that we are staying clean by washing our face and our hands, and especially our hands. These days, that's very important. And you're hearing that a lot, to wash your hands. Did you ever hear the phrase all washed up? Like if somebody says about somebody else, Joe, he's all washed up as a bank teller. He can't do that job anymore. Or perhaps Jack's getting fired. His manager says, Jack, you're through. You're fired. You're washed up. Or somebody says to somebody else, you know what? You've been washed up for years. Why on earth do you think I want your advice? Or maybe saying about somebody like, well, we're going to make sure that he's all washed up after pulling a stunt like that. Well, did those statements seem to bother you a bit? I don't think they were talking about washing our hands and faces, were they? No, those were sort of mean statements, don't you think? They made me feel sort of sad because it felt like the person that was being talked about wasn't being valued. So, did you ever hear somebody say that person is all washed up? Yeah, sort of a negative term. We're going to talk a little bit about how that might make us feel. But the term being washed up actually was not, in its origin, a negative term. It was from the theaters. The live theater in the 1920s is where it was first used, the phrase washed up. And it simply meant that the person in question, or the person being talked about, had finished performing on the stage and had gone and washed up all the stage makeup off their face, like actors wear makeup. And so when that person was finished acting, they washed the makeup off and they were referenced as being washed up, ready to go. And maybe sometimes in our lives, we're saying we're all washed up, we're ready to go, meaning that we actually are clean. But in the negative sense, over time, washed up came to mean that somebody was finished, that their career was over or ruined, and that actor would never perform again, or that somebody just had nothing to offer to their job anymore and they were washed up. And that sounds really sad. Now, there are times when our lives change and we stop doing what we used to do, or we change jobs, or we retire. However, I don't think we're washed up. Do you? I think we always have something to contribute. And I know that no one is washed up in the eyes of God. God doesn't say to us, oh, you're washed up. You're not of value anymore. Absolutely not. We are all valued in the eyes of God, and we've been valued by God from the beginning. Remember Genesis 1? So God created human beings in his own likeness. He created them to be like himself. Well, himself is a person of great value. God is powerful and wonderful, and he made human beings like himself. So he gave those things he created us to have value, definitely not washed up. Psalm 139, verse 17 says, God, your thoughts about me are priceless. No one can possibly add them up. God thinks great things of us. We are of value. Isaiah 49:15. The Lord answers, can a mother forget the baby who she has nursed? Can she stop having tender love for the child who was born to her? Well, maybe sometimes she might forget her, but most likely not. However, God says, I will not forget you. And Jeremiah 31:3. The Lord appeared to us in the past, and he said, I have loved you with a love that lasts forever. I have kept on loving you with a kindness that never fails. And in the New Testament, in 1 John 3, verse 1, see what amazing love the Father has given us. Because of it, we are called children of God. And that's what we really are. A child of God is a child of value. We have been given value. We are not washed up. Even though we clean our hands every day and wash our faces, yes, but we are not washed up in the eyes of God in the negative sense. We will always have something to contribute. We will always be loved by God. So if you ever hear somebody say of somebody else, well, they're all washed up, they don't have anything to offer anymore, I want you to maybe encourage the person who's being talked about, saying, no, what? You are of value and you do have something to contribute. Or you can say to the person who said it, hey, I disagree with that. I think that Joe is a great person and I think that he's not washed up. None of us want to be referenced as being washed up unless we have been clean, unless we have washed up ourselves and we're no longer dirty. And I know that's what you want to be, is to be clean and healthy and safe. And so I encourage you to consider yourself to be of value. Don't let anyone ever tell you that you're washed up, or don't let anyone ever say of anyone else around you that they're washed up. Defend them. Defend the value that God has placed in you and in others. You know, God loves us so much, whether we're clean or dirty. But we're going to wash up today. We're going to make sure that our hands and faces are clean. But we're also going to remember that God loves each one of us so very much. You are of value. Have a great day and a day filled with peace.